Hello, everyone. I always have in trouble with this because I'm not tall enough to speak, so I prefer to be here. We have a presentation, right? Is it? Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, Chris Gale, Latin Resource, thank you very much for organizing this. It's a pleasure for us to be here to join. And it's very important also. Minas Gerais is being, as has never been in its history, so proactive and so aggressive on promoting mining investments in the state. And this mission, we were in Perth since last Monday, and now we're here in Sydney as part of a mission to showcase how Minas Gerais can bring good opportunities for investors of Australia. And what I'm going to show here, it's what Minas Gerais has to offer. Probably some of you have no idea about what Minas Gerais is. And to start, as we're talking about mining, Minas Gerais means general mining. Since Brazil was discovered by the Portuguese 300 to 400 years ago, there was a region where they used to go to mine gold, diamonds, and they named that region as General Mine. And since then, the state and the economy of this state has been so important, and it relies in a big part on the mineral reserves that we have there. And my name is JP Braga. I'm CEO of Invest Minas. And to start, here's a map of the state of Minas Gerais, which happens to be in the very center of Brazil, in the south east of Brazil. We border with São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. And we are branding ourselves as the state which is a strategic hub for strategic materials for the world. So we talk about a lot about lithium, where Leighton Resource is doing its project now with in partnership in the deal with Pilbara. But we also have rare earth, and you have representatives here of rare earth Australian companies that are investing there, Meteoric, Reeds. But we do have niobium, which happens to have 90% of the world market share of the niobium comes from a company in Minas Gerais, CBMM. We do have silicon, we do have manganese, graphite, and other minerals very important for the energy transition. And not only for the energy transition, because we talk a lot about how the world needs to decarbonize. But we also need to talk about the food security of the world. And Brazil is an important, very important hub for feed the world. Brazil has 200 million people as a population, but we produce food for 1.7 billion people. That means that Brazil produces food for almost 8 to 9 times our population. But happens that we rely on imports of fertilizers to make this productive agribusiness to happen. So there is also an enormous opportunities for mining in the fertilizer. I'm talking about potassium, I'm talking about phosphate. And all of that we consider that are strategic materials for the world. And I'll talk a little bit about it. So, Brazil. A good part of you already know about Brazil, but just to put everybody in the same page, world fifth largest country in terms of land, a little smaller than the United States. We are the sixth largest population, 214 million people. 11th biggest economy, global economy, and we keep moving up and down between the 8th and the 11th position. Globally, also here, each year we move from the 5th to the 8th in terms of recipient of foreign direct investment. And this is a very important thing and very important measure for the mining sector. It's how renewable is our energy metrics. If you consider our primary energy supply, which considers transportation and etc., almost 50% of our energy source is renewable. If you compare this with the OECD average, the OECD average is 11.5. And if you go to the grid, our grid is around 90% of renewable energy. So if you plug a EV on the grid, it means that 90% of that source of energy comes from renewable energy. And we are a mining powerhouse. Top 1, 2, or 3 global producer and exporter of iron ore, niobium, bauxite, gold, manganese. And now, as never, emerging as a key player in critical minerals, like the ones that I already showed here, lithium, graphite, and others. And then it comes to Minas Gerais. Here's where we are. So for those who don't know Brazil very well, the Amazon is in the top, and then Argentina is down here, São Paulo is right here, and Minas Gerais is in the center of everything. Why this is important? Because we know that logistics, freight for mining can be complicated. We visit a mine in WA last week, and sometimes when we think about the region where the lithium is in Minas Gerais, we think, okay, it's too far, it's complicated to get that. But if we compare on what you're gonna find in terms of mining in Chile, in Argentina, or even here in Australia, our mining are very well positioned in terms of logistics. We border with 6 other states in Brazil. Minas Gerais is the state that has the largest number of other states bordering in the very center of the country. So if you go to the west, if you go up north, up south, Minas Gerais is in the center of Brazil. In very large area, we're bigger than countries like Spain and France. The second largest consumer market in Brazil, we only lose for São Paulo is the first. São Paulo has 40 million people. Minas Gerais has 1 million inhabitants. And our economy is growing tremendously since this governor, the governor who is there right now, he's in the second term, he's a businessman, and he's implementing strong reforms to make the state the most pro-business state in Brazil. And that includes to be a pro-mining state. And a pro-mining state. And I think you're already seeing the results of those reforms that are being implemented. And it reflects on the amount of investments that we are receiving in the last 6 years. I represent Invest Minas, which is the investment promotion agency of the state. It's a public agency. Our mission is to promote investments, business, and employment in the state of Minas Gerais. And what we do is one-stop shop for companies and investors. We know that sometimes can be very tough for companies, especially foreigners, to get to a new country and understand all the bureaucracy, all the process, to get to the right people. What Invest Minas does is to be the single window where you can go, a foreign company can go, and you're gonna have the orientation all over the process, all over the journey to implement a project and to make it faster. That's what we've been done with Lighting Resources, with Meteoric, with Reeds, and with other companies. To give an example that it's a big challenge for mining companies is the license, the environmental license. Before you protocol the request for a license for an environmental permit, we bring the company, you bring the Secretary of Environment, we discuss first, we put on the table all the risks that the project might have, in order to, before you build up your studies, your project, you're gonna pay attention about what the risks are, and that will minimize the risk of you protocol a project that it will not be accepted by the government. So this is all to facilitate, and as a consequence of that, speed up the way the license is done. Project location and implementation support. So every time a company comes, and in mining this is less important, because when a mining company comes, it usually already knows where the mineral resources are. But for other sectors, when a company comes, it has its business parameters. I need to be close to a highway or close to a school that has specific technical skills. We have a huge map with areas and lands and sites of all the states, and based on the parameters that the company will offer to us, we will help them to find the right place in the state to put their plans. And when it goes to implementation, we give all the support to make that implementation happen. It involves the connection with the local power, the mayors, the local community, and everything. Promotion and prospection of international business. This is exactly what I am doing here right now, and I expect to be successful to convince you to come and to invest and to put more money in the state of Minas Gerais. And this is also very important, the connection between projects and the capital market. You know, the richness of the mineral resources in Minas Gerais is tremendous. And sometimes there are people that have the mineral rights, but they don't have money to advance on the exploitation and the research. Sometimes they did the research, but they don't have money to move on for the mining construction. And all those projects come to us. And we can be the bridge between these opportunities in the land and whoever has the capital to invest and want to make more money off it. So we work as a hub that can connect these two parts. Policy advocacy for competitiveness. So as we are the bridge between the private sector and the governmental brands, we also are the ones who go to, come on, Environmental Secretary, we need to change that rule, because that rule is slowing the process to have the lithium valley working, producing, generate jobs faster. So we do this type of policy advocacy as well. And we also prepare, as I mentioned, the municipalities, and the most part of time is where the biggest risk are, dealing with the community and with the municipalities. We do deal with mayors, the secretaries, and the local organization, educating them on how to be more friendly to receive and to treat companies that want to invest on their local. Invest Minas has 56 years of existence. We were the first investment promotion agency in Brazil, the first investment promotion agency in South America. And I'm proud to say that this is the most brilliant years of this institution. And the numbers prove that in the last 5 to 6 years, Minas Gerais attracted $79 billion in investments that benefit 283 municipalities. Parentheses. The state of Minas Gerais is the state that has the largest number of municipalities in Brazil. There are 853. And we, Invest Minas, facilitate investments to happen in 283 of them. And when it comes to mining, $23 billion on investments in mining, going for 42 different municipalities in the state. And why mining is so important to the state of Minas Gerais? There are more than 300 mines in operation in the state. More than 30% of all mineral production in Brazil comes from mining in Minas Gerais. 40% of the major mines in Brazil are in the state of Minas Gerais. The state is the world leader in niobium production. This is one company, CBMM, has almost 90% of the global market share on niobium. The state in Brazil is the largest national steel producer, almost 30% of the Brazil's production of steel. We are in the path to becoming the third largest lithium producer in the world with our Lithium Valley and with the investments and projects of companies that are in the valley right now. And 50% of the national production of processed metallic minerals. Why we say that we are a global hub for strategic mineral for the energy transition? First, because of the lithium, which is the most prominent, the most known, the most successful initiative that we've been done so far, but also because of the rare earth elements that you can find in our territory. There are more than 2.6 billion already being invested. I will let the meteoric, Marcelo probably will tell you how advantaged can be the projects on rare earth in the state of Minas Gerais. But the metallic silicon, Minas Gerais holds 5% of the global market of this input, which is essential for the manufacture of solar panels. It's curious because 5% of the world silicon, metallic silicon comes from Minas Gerais, 5% of the global market share. And it goes somewhere else, China, to aggregate value, to downstream, and then it comes to solar panel. And the state of Minas Gerais is the leader in Brazil in solar energy generation. So it goes as the metallic silicon and it comes back as solar panel. In the last 6 years, when this governor took the office, Minas Gerais used to produce the solar capacity generation was 500 megabytes. 6 years after, we are in almost 90 gigawatts. I said megabytes. The correct is megawatts. So after 6 years, we are in almost 9 gigawatts of capacity. We won a prize. Invest Minas won an award of ONU, the United Nations, because our excellence on promoting investments that goes for energy transition. Because of this, we increased the solar energy capacity in the state 16 times in 6 years. And all these new plants for produce solar energy, they buy solar panels from somewhere else. And probably most part of the solar panels is made using the metallic silicon that is produced in the state of Minas Gerais. Talking about graphite, the state holds 40% of Brazilian non-reserves for its product. And we also have, talking about iron ore, considering that you have a very clean energy metrics, a good opportunity for iron ore concentration with a low carbon footprint using clean and affordable energy. A little bit about the Lithium Valley, Brazil. So in the May of 23, 1 year and a half ago, there were resources and exploitation going on in the region of the state of Minas Gerais. And as a government, we thought we should brand it. We should embrace it and brand it in a way to showcase to the world the potential that this area has for lithium producer, and as a consequence of that, to attract investment. So we create this brand, the Lithium Valley Brazil. We went to NASDAQ. Chris Gale were there with us on that day to make a global launch of the Lithium Valley Brazil. This is our governor, Romeu Zema, and all the team of the investment promotion in the state of Minas Gerais. And since then, that was here, May 2023. And this number is the mining process at Agência Nacional de Mineração, the national mining agency in Brazil. Is the one that gives the mineral rights. See how the number of mineral exploration in this region is going. We bump, the movement that you make to showcase the opportunities that you have there brought a lot of attention for the world, for the resources that you have there, and it's materializing on more research and more investments. The region has 45 large deposits of lithium. So far, 6.8 billion are being invested in Minas Gerais, and our projection is to reach 30 billion reais by 2030. We made the projection based on the projects that are already in our portfolio. The first part of the graph shows the countries, the production of lithium 2023, so we have Australia, Chile, and etc. And here, like, see here, they are comparing different times. Here is 2023, and here is our projection for 2026. And happens that when these projects most part of them are already being licensed, we're gonna reach 40,000 LCE by 2026. That put us in the third position in terms of production worldwide. Of course, those other countries, they will grow their production as well. But when you think about what happened in Chile, that the president intend to nationalize the sector, we think that there is no other country that and state they offer the best environment that encourage those investments than Minas Gerais. And here's our strategy based in two verticals. First of all, accelerate upstream. We want those lithium projects that are going on to be implemented as fast as you can. And the experience that you're having are being amazing. We license lithium projects in 1 year, or 1 year and something. Sigma was that. Atlas Lithium was licensed last week, 1 year and 15 days. Latin Resources is in the same path. It will be licensed by the end of this year maximum. And there are other projects on the field that will be licensed in around 1 year. This is amazing. For all we talk with the industry in Canada, in Australia, and everywhere, the report, the feedback that I have is that it's a really good time frame. And it also the same strategy for rare earths and any other minerals related to energy transition that we're having projects right there. We're having projects going on there. And the other part of the strategy is to develop it downstream. How we can aggregate value to this mineral production. And here, I think when you consider the geopolitical of these minerals, there is a big opportunity for Minas Gerais to be a safe supplier of these raw materials for the West world. We have nothing against China. Our lithium is going to China. But when you consider that the United States, Europe, they want to diversify their source of raw materials, we see that Brazil, as a neutral country that deal well with both sides of the world, we can be a safe supplier for that. And we are having this discussion with the government of the United States. Our governor, Romeu Zema, went to the Department of the State in the US in the last months. Ambassador Jeffrey, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, visit us. He's the one that is in the Department of State in charge for diversify the supply of raw materials for the U.S. to make this energy transition. He visited the governor 2 months ago in Minas Gerais, and we are discussing how we can bring projects of these materials to the United States, and they will help us to find the funding for those projects to happen, and also the offtake for these materials, because their main goal is to find other suppliers than China. So there is a huge opportunity on this, and I think it can be beneficial for both countries, because for us, what we want is to aggregate value on this production, going to carbonate or going to magnets, going to lithium sulfate, that it will leave more value in Brazil. And for the other hand, they will have different source of supply. Brazil and Australia, they are closer than ever, sharing the opportunities, and I think this event here is also a proof of that, and we want more. Here there are some recent projects of Australian companies announced in the state of Minas Gerais, and Invest Minas is behind all of this, providing all the support that these companies need to make their projects so successful there. Here's some recent news of Australian investments happening in Brazil. And to finalize, this is my last slide. This is why we're doing that. Minas Gerais and the governor set a very important goal, which is the decarbonization of the state. In 2021, Minas Gerais was the first Latin America subnational state that signed the Race to Zero campaign to reach the carbon neutrality by 2050. But when you consider that our state is a commodity producer, both for mining but also for agribusiness, if you decarbonize the state and the goods that we produce, and these goods that are produced there goes all the way to the other chains, this lower carbon footprint will affect all the chains that comes along. And that's why we have this route of decarbonization. Minas Gerais can be not only a state with a low carbon footprint itself, but it can be a vehicle to decarbonize many other things, many other chains in the world. That's what we believe, and that will bring advantage for the goods that we produce, that including mining, of course. That's what I have to say. I once more thank to Latin Resource, Chris Gale. Important. As we believe a lot that of the potential that Australia and Brazil share on these investments, we have Mr. Mauro, which happens to be now our representative of Invest Minas here in Australia. Mauro, please raise your hand for people to get to know you. So he should be the bridge of Australia and Invest Minas, especially on the mining sector, to bring those investments and to provide support for whoever needs. At the end of the day, we want more money coming and more jobs being generated and more richness, more prosperity being done in the state of Minas Gerais. Thank you very much.